Well, now we're getting into Minority Report kind of stuff. So you guys are suggesting not you guys,
Yeah.
but like the intelligence is gonna go after me for a crime I haven't committed. You're trying to predict a crime. Is that what's going to happen? Is that what's happening? Is that what you're saying? It doesn't seem like it. It seems like you're saying suspicious activity over here. You have the right to look a little deeper.
Mm-hmm.
If there's suspicious activity, then you have a crime. If there isn't, we keep it rolling. Oh no, she's talking to her Pakistani cousin.
And they're fine.
Get moving right along.
Correct.
So where's the crime prediction piece? The Minority Report that's coming. AI is going to predict that Jillian is going to do some sort of God knows what.
This is what's beautiful about our country and what our forefathers put in place with our country. We have a break between the law enforcement element of the United States and the intelligence collection element of the United States. To give an example, that break between law enforcement and intelligence does not exist in Russia, does not exist in China, does not exist in North Korea, right?
Okay.
So if someone suspects you, if intelligence points that you may be doing bad things in one of our adversary countries, they will arrest you.
Got it.
In the United States, that doesn't happen. In the United States, you can be suspected, but they have to build a case, and the case has to go in front of a panel of your peers, and we have a whole judicial process, right? Understanding that intelligence is all about predicting with high confidence how an outcome will occur.
Okay.
Law enforcement is when you enforce a law that's been broken.
Got it.
Until a law is broken, law enforcement can't get involved. CIA has secret prisons for people who commit crimes against America from overseas, but they don't have secret prisons for Americans, right? Because that's outside of our jurisdiction. If you think about that Venn diagram that we built earlier, right?
Got it.
Everybody else in the world and everybody else in the United States.
Okay.
So I don't put any credence in the idea that inside the United States, AI is going to predict that you'll commit a crime and you'll go to jail. That's the stuff of movies. But I do believe. People
are going down the rabbit hole. I've had this conversation, and it's very convincing.
For sure. I do believe, Jillian, AI will be able to identify suspicious activity that would have never been caught by the human eye. And it will be able to report that to AI on the law enforcement side, which will be able to do an instantaneous investigation.
Got it.
And then the two AI components together will say, there's a 98% confidence that these three individuals are part of a ring that's being controlled out of Iran through an Iranian contact in Switzerland. And then a human being
can investigate it.
We'll have to take.
So there's your checks and balances. Because then I can make the argument, well, AI isn't fact check things and AI hallucinates stuff
Right.
and AI Okay, so then you have a human that vets it out and fact checks it.
Yes, because we are still. I understand people's fear about AI, and it's a valid fear, but AI also gives us massive advantages, incredible force multipliers to do things that would have otherwise taken weeks, months, or years to do it in a matter of minutes or seconds. Just make it work for us instead of turning things over to it.
Wow. Okay. Hold on. These are me. I'm like, which one of these do I want to go to next? I want to go to Doge. All right. So I'm sure you've seen Mike Benz, who I've unfortunately yet to interview. And he seems like a brilliant guy. But there is a level of paranoia there, in my opinion. And it's like, long story short, Doge was a CIA/fund. And the CIA is staging. Now, I'm not going to suggest that the CIA is not influencing culture around the world. Like, oh, we funded these rap videos and they're about rising up, and overthrowing the government. And we did it in this country where they rose up and overthrew the government. Oh, we funded this poetry that's about rising up, overthrowing the government. We did the National Endowment for Democracy, did get involved in that coup in 2014 in Ukraine, and that is part of the CIA. So then people start demonizing the CIA, like, you're starting wars, and you're starting wars for globalists so they can rape, pillage, and plunder the developing world so that the military-industrial complex can have their wars and their pound of flesh. It's like, what are we going to do if we can't drop bombs? And we can't let Russia into NATO because NATO only exists to get rid of Russia. Yeah. And the CIA is behind all of this. What True line, no line,
Yeah,
good guys, bad guys.
Let me start there with good guys and bad guys.
Okay.
One of the things that CIA teaches us as we go through our entry onto operations is that you have to separate what's subjective from objective reality.
Okay.
The idea of good guys and bad guys, good and evil, right and wrong, is all artificial.
Okay.
That's not objective fact. That is subjective reasoning.
Okay.
If you're Catholic, you have your good guys and bad guys, you're good and evil. If you're Muslim, you have different good guys and bad guys.
I see.
Right?
It's relative.
Good and evil. It's all based on your perspective. If you grew up in New York or if you grew up in Mississippi, different ideas of who good guys and bad guys are. Different ideas about what's good and evil, right?
Okay.
So CIA first tries to eradicate that thinking process from us and say, okay, let's just focus on outcomes and let's focus on productive outcomes and destructive outcomes.
Can I pause you for a second? Would the productive outcome, though, be biased by the lens of, but we're the good guys. China's the bad guy. We're good guys.
No, because who's setting the outcomes? The president. Our job is to create productive outcomes as defined by the president and by the director of national security now, director of national intelligence, for the approved projects that they have given us. Because approved
so you're not
projects
allowed
come
to
with funding.
decide China's a bad guy.
Yep.
Maybe they're not a bad guy tomorrow if they help us
Correct.
contain, like, for example,
Taliban. Taliban was a bad guy for a long time. And then we started sitting with them at the negotiating table.
Right. Because
That's how it works.
we have a different outcome.
Yep.
Like I was watching Trump and I'm shutting down this war between Russia and Ukraine. Now all of a sudden it's like, hey, Putin, can you help me negotiate with Iran? Ukraine. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What just happened?
It's all about the outcome. And we serve at the behest of the president. It's part of what we swear to, right? We are supporting and defending the Constitution of the United States, but we serve at the pleasure of the president. If we don't please him or her, then we don't get to serve anymore. So that's a big part of that calculation.
Okay.
Now, understanding that,
I got it.
You move to why do people not trust the CIA? They don't trust the CIA because as human beings, based on survival, because we've covered that we are all focused on survival first. We're not focused on success first. We're focused on our own individual survival first. Nobody feels comfortable. Nobody feels like they have control over their health and well-being when somebody else gets to keep a secret. We call this the dilemma, the secret dilemma. I want your secrets. I feel entitled to your secrets, but I don't have to share my secrets with you. That's a dilemma that we all deal with all the time, right? Parents want their kids to have no secrets that they keep from their parents, but parents want to keep their secrets from their kids. Bosses want to keep their secrets from their employees, but employees feel like their bosses should tell them their secrets. And it goes both ways all through society. It creates this dilemma where what information is actually shared, what information that is shared is actually truthful, what information is shared intentionally because it's the wrong information. It happens all through society. It happens all through the world, that dilemma of secrecy, right? So that's why people don't trust CIA, because CIA gets to keep secrets.
Share.
And you don't get to know about it. So what do you do when somebody, and everybody in the world knows, especially Americans, no, CIA doesn't have to tell you their secrets. So then everybody's like, well, you're definitely keeping secrets that are useful to me. You're definitely keeping secrets about me. In fact, you're targeting me. And then you have all the people with the aluminum foil on their heads. So this is, and it's gonna perpetuate.
It is perpetuating
for as long as it exists. And a big part of my personal mission since leaving CIA is to try to just interrupt that thinking process, to say, hey, CIA is keeping secrets, not because they're keeping them from you, Jane, Jill, Tom, American citizen. They're keeping their secrets from the adversaries who are watching the same news that you're watching, the same TikTok feed, the same Facebook account. And guess what? They all speak English. That's why CIA is not telling you what they know, because as soon as they tell you, they also tell everybody else in the world. So if they really want to keep you safe, they can't tell them the secrets. So that means they can't tell you the secrets.
Okay, so hold on. So I want to push back, but I guess it's kind of FBI involved, so you can obviously correct me accordingly. These two organizations, in some cases, I feel like do get looped or lumped into the same bucket here.
Yes.
So now the FBI has 50-something agents that are like, that Hunter Biden laptop, not true. But it is true. So were they serving at the legislative branch? So, no, the judicial branch. So who told them to tell that lie.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, hold on. And then come on. COVID came from a lab. It came from a lab. No, nothing to see here until there was.
Yeah.
CIA believes that all people are born with a spy secret superpower. For some people, that means they can win deals. For others, they can spot liars. Some can even seduce lovers. I built a free 3-minute test to help reveal to you exactly what your secret hidden superpower is. All you have to do is click on the link in the description below, take the test, and start using your spy superpower to stay ahead of 99% of people.
So then it's kind of like, well, why though are we manipulating truth? Although, is that a secret? It's, you start to feel like you're being lied to about that. Why are we lying about the Hunter Biden laptop? Now that's FBI, I guess.
Well, the other thing that
I'm conflating issues.
There's a little bit of overlap here, right?
Okay.
And the overlap, what you're describing is a pre-existing
There's an agenda.
There's two assumptions that are the foundation to what you're saying.
Okay.
The first assumption is that people are lying. People are intentionally taking the truth and manipulating it to create something different than the truth. So that's assumption number one.
Okay.
Assumption number two, you're assuming that people who work in federal government are somehow different from people who don't work in federal government. Like they're somehow more honest or more loyal or somehow better or different because they have a different responsibility. Somehow they're above being politicized themselves. Somehow they're above being radicalized themselves. They're not. The unfortunate truth is, as you rise through the ranks in the government, you're not necessarily rising based on meritocracy. You're rising because you know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy, and you have no other skill that could be beneficial to the workplace, or else those people would have gotten out. CIA, FBI, NSA, intelligence officers leave all the time when they find that they have value that supersedes the value that they can provide for government. If you can make more money on the outside, you go do something else. If you can start a business, if you're a better teacher, if you're a better shooter, whatever, you would find a job outside of government, except for a very small contingent of people who are exceptionally good at what they do and also exceptionally loyal. So as you go up those ranks, every time I see a petition from NSA or CIA, there's 25 names on here that say that the president is breaking the law, or that say that the president is an informant for Russia. Those 25 names are people who are inside, who have made a commitment that they wouldn't do exactly what they're doing. It doesn't even matter what they say. It shows that they've been politicized and politically radicalized from inside a government that's supposed to serve the people. The people. You serve at the direction of the U.S. president, but you're supporting and defending the Constitution of America, right? So when you put your name on a piece of paper that says that the president's wrong, you put your name on a piece of paper that says that anything, you're violating your oath of office to the people of the United States. You're supposed to be a quiet cog in a larger machine.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to have a voice. So name off the petition, you don't have a voice. The American people have a voice.
I see. So you're not saying this is like some sort of institutional
No.
agenda being directed by BlackRock.
Correct.
This is people that have their own opinions that are somewhat captured and vulnerable to their own bias.
CIA is an organization of about 10,000 people. FBI is an organization of about the same, maybe 20,000 people. So when 50 names out of 20,000 end up on a petition, you're seeing that the vast majority of the institution is staying true to their requirement to be a quiet professional and serve at the direction of their authority.
Okay.
50 people have lost sight of what actually matters. But the way the media twists it, those 50 people are heroes, just like Snowden. They're a hero. They're stepping out and they're speaking up to keep us safe. No, they're politically radicalized, or they're being motivated by some other incentive other than...
We saw it with COVID, though. So you see, like, Bill Gates funds this virality project at Stanford to suss out vaccine hesitancy. It lands on the president's desk. And theoretically, he took that, gave it to, I guess, the FBI, who then went to the social networks and said, like, shut down Hunter Biden laptop, shut down vaccine hesitancy, shut down. Now they're serving on behalf of the president.
Mm-hmm.
What if what the president is asking, though, is unethical because the laptop is true and COVID did come from a lab, and the mRNA tech was pushed through an emergency use loophole. And the NIH was doing studies on vaccine-injured people as they're rolling out the vaccine. Like, what happens if that president is telling you to do that is not in service of the people?
That's why you have two other branches of government.
Oh, well, where were they?
So
what happened?
The other thing is, we're coming from the assumption that the president was giving that direction. There's no reason to believe that the president was giving any specific direction. You think COVID was one of the top 15 things on the president's agenda? One of the biggest criticisms that happened for Donald Trump in 2019 and 20 was his response to COVID. I can almost guarantee you Donald Trump was sitting in the Oval Office like, why the do I care about another global pandemic after the bird flu, after swine flu, after all these other flus that had taken over the whole world, right? They traveled near and far. He was probably like, why would I care about this when I'm on the brink of war with Iran, a trade war with China, there's terrorists still trying to kill Americans. Why do I care about a flu? But then the world reacted different to COVID, right? China shut down. When China shut down, everybody else felt like they had to shut down. All this information was spreading because the National Institute of Health was wrong about so much about the initial information because there were no studies at the time. So you had this propagation not of disinformation or misinformation. You just had a propagation of incomplete information, and nobody knew quite how to react. And then as a result, that's where the primary political criticism of Donald Trump at the time, that was their in. Because how else are you going to get in on a guy who turned around the economy and get in on a guy who's making America militarily strong and regaining leverage? Like, how are you going to get some place of criticism on this guy?